stressing me out quite a bit for the last 2 days. So basically, if we made Line Manager a child of interlockable, the scene wouldn't crash right away, but if I switch to another scene, so let's switch to another scene, save this, and then switch back, or if I close Unity and open this up again, it would cause the scene, Unity would just crash. So we finally figured out what the issue was, and it actually is from you can actually figure out what the problem is from the editor log. And so I wanted to, so the reason why I'm reverting back to a previous version to show you guys the problem is also because I wanted to generate that editor log, because it actually overwrites it every time you have, every time you open up Unity. So you can see right now we've switched to world 25 pillar grid. This is just another world, just kind of for the purpose of this example. And now I'm going to switch back to Game Field Redux, which is the sandbox level, and I think this should cause Unity to crash. Boom, there we go. So, yeah, there was this mysterious problem, and then every time I wanted to fix it, I would have to, and it was really painful to debug the way I was doing it, also because, you know, I would have to go back to my game folder, go to library, and then basically delete this entire library folder, open up Unity, and it would have to import all the things, and so that process alone would take about 10 minutes, so it was just really tedious to kind of try out different things. So, but finally, so this is why I wanted to go over this is why I want to go over reading the editor log, because I think that's something that's really, really useful. Give me 1 second to find it. Right, so you can find it inside users, app data, local, Unity. The Unity's website has it. So basically, inside the Unity folder, if you go to editor, this is the text file. So actually, what I want to do is I want to copy it out and paste it, so I have it on my desktop, because I do want to save it. Why is this having problem open? Okay, so I guess you don't want to open editor, you want to open editor prev. No, but I think that's my previous editor. Okay, no, never mind. Oh man, I could have just used the editor previous. But anyway, so this is the editor log file, and if you go to the very bottom, and Chris was explaining this to me today, because I was asking him, how did you finally figure out that it was the singleton? And it's from reading this. So this is why it is super useful. Now, I guess this file is gigantic. So I don't know if I can get to the bottom of this. While we are scrolling, let me see. So, Ryoku the Slayer, what are we talking about? Metal gun talk. Alright, end of stack trace. Okay. Right, so this is it. So this is where you want to pay attention, right? So, I think. Yes. So, Chris was explaining to me that this stuff happens, you want to read it from back to front. Okay, hold on a second. Launching bug reporter. Let me see if I can find it. Weird. So Chris was saying that there's the one he was showing me had, I'm not sure if it's this or because so this is the one that Chris sent me, which I think is, give me just a second. Let me Okay, might, you know what, I think part of it is that it outputs it slightly differently. If you are in Mac, which is what Chris works in, but I think, okay, right. Okay, so maybe the output is slightly different when you're on a Mac, but basically, Chris is telling me, so with this, it actually is going, you want to read it. This is all the stuff that Unity has done, and it's actually reading from top to bottom is the most recent to the latest. So basically it's like, okay, this is opening up when it does all the, so a bunch of these are just like Unity stuff, and these are not the problems, right? Because that's Unity stuff, but if you start to look at this, so you want to pay attention to like the scripts that you've written. So these are the ones that are in our game, right? So yeah, double gravity tree controller, on validate, set tree, active, and then you can see this line is singleton behavior.cs, and then it goes Unity find object of type, and then it crashes. And so, and now basically on double gravity tree controller, on validate, so what that is, reload all. So basically we've got this in a bunch of, so this is the double gravity tree controller, and it's got a method called on validate, and basically this is when we have that in there so we can change values inside in the Unity inspector and have that updated while we're in the editor. Now, as it turns out, and so what basically what this does is on validate, you call on validate, and what it does is you can change the gravity of a tree in the editor, and that updates the material of the tree inside the editor. So I don't have to like go into play, it just it updates the material automatically. So what it does is you call on validate, and then it goes to set up color material, which is down here inside the materials region. So it goes to set up color material, and it looks at what the gravity currently is, and then looks at the where is it now? It's supposed to look at, right, okay, it's somewhere here. Basically it looks at relativity utils to get the exact colors, right? So it uses when the inspector is called, when onValidate is called, it calls a method to update the material, which looks at the relativity utils instance to see what color it is. And as it turns out, that onValidate is also called at the very beginning when things are loaded into the scene. And so what Chris determined happened is that double gravity tree controller and tree controller, they were calling for relativity utils when it still hadn't been loaded. And so this is how he figured it out, by looking at this and then looking at kind of the last thing. So it said, you know, find an object of type. This was not working, and that's kind of where everything broke up. Let me see. Yeah. Well, so Spherical Penguin, you did say something about looking at the text file. The problem was, the problem is, like, this thing has, so this is okay, like, look at the size of this. This is 50 megabytes of text, and it's like, how, you know, when I first looked at this, I was just like, where am I even supposed to look? I don't understand what, Oh, I guess they all say it here, right? Interesting. Now that I know, no object of type relativity utils available. Try adding one to the scene. Although I think that's something new that he added. Interesting. I think I just didn't know how to read this. Right, it was just so massive that I didn't know what to start. But I guess it's like you wanna, if you just go to the very bottom, you know, where the stack traces output, you can, like, you know, the part actually. So I think the key thing here is how to read the editor. Why was it not finding the word exception? Well, it was finding. Was it not finding the word exception? No, it is finding the word exception, but like, again, there's actually so many instances of exception that, again, I don't know what's going on, right? So I think the key is if you go to the very bottom of the script, it is, you know, a bunch of things that Unity outputs in the order of most recent thing that it's done. And what you want to do is not look at the Unity scripts, because those are not the problem. It's something that you've written. So if you look at kind of the script that you've written and sort of see where that is. I mean, this is where kind of Chris got the initial idea. At least this is how he managed to determine, oh, you always just start at the bottom because it's just the last thing that happened. I wouldn't try to search for stuff. Just start at the end and start reading everything that seems relevant. Right. So see, that's the key thing that I don't think you know until you've done it, like, until someone points it out. Because, like, I don't know how to read editor log files. Like, why would I start from the bottom? I'd start from the top, because that's how I read everything else. Plus, I think it kept, you know, the way it was loading, it would just take forever to get to the bottom. Do I feel like I've learned something from this whole thing? Yes, of course. Well, I mean, every day I'm just like learning more about game development. So anyway, yeah. So I guess, like Spherical Penguin pointed out, and as basically what Chris did, you start reading from the bottom and then kind of traced it down to, okay, this singleton was the problem. And what he did was, and I guess Chris is pretty clever, so, and he was using Mono Develop for this, but you guys know you can set breakpoints for stuff. I'm not very good at this, but basically you would set, like, you know, in here you'd put a breakpoint, and then you know, you can attach it to Unity, and what it does is it will run through all the code, and then it'll stop here, and it'll just kind of freeze up, and then from here you can actually step through every single line and then see where the problem is. And I was like, Chris, but how are you able to attach to Unity? Because I couldn't even open up Unity, right? You'd open up the scene and it would just crash. And as it turns out, Chris actually attached it to this screen. So you can actually attach it to this. Actually, I might try that. So breakpoint. Because so he attached it to... Oh, I think he attached it to onValidate for... No, I don't know if this is gonna work, but I guess we can try putting it on DoubleTree controller. And where's the onValidate script? Right. So let's do this. Let's just put a breakpoint here, and does this work? All right, so he clicked on. All right, so this crashed. I don't think. Wait a minute, it doesn't have the Unity instance attached? Okay, I'm actually not super sure how Chris did it, but he told me he attached it to that scene opening file, that scene opening screen, and was able to step through the code from there. So yeah, I'm gonna, you know what, we should just get him on like on next week Thursday, and he can talk a bit more about this. Oh hey, Metal Gun Talk, your name is Chris. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to, alright, I'm going to delete this breakpoint. I'm just going to pull the newest build of the game. And we will, and then I'll just kind of show you guys some of the fixes that have been put in place to address that. So get latest revision. Alright, so continue. Yes. Right. Yeah, if you're not familiar with debugging and tracing through code, a log file can be a pretty gnarly beast. Very true. It's just like it's 50 megabyte text file. Like, what are you supposed to do with it? Oh, and yes, there will be something very, very special for those of you who are working in Unity and are interested in trying out ProBuilder. I wanted to do it yesterday, but I actually didn't get everything sorted out in time. So yes, breakpoints are super helpful. And, alright, so, okay. So now it's all working. Let me load this scene. Yeah, and actually I want to take this moment too to talk about some of the questions I've gotten on my ProBuilder. Okay, well that'll be in just a bit. We're gonna do it at like 9:30. M-Master's kind of a funny person. He's like, I don't feel like reading the last 40 pages, but I feel like following the rest. Roughly how far are you through the game? What percentage? Well, Imp Master, if you read the last 40 pages, you would know. But I'm a nice guy, I've answered. I'd say maybe 50%. But that is a awful guesstimate. But anyway, Mark, he was asking me about how to get past kind of the low stages of development and avoid burnout, besides general exercise and sleep enough and go to local events type deal. Anything else? Anything I recommend? I actually think general exercise, sleep enough, and go to local events are the one thing that helps the most. Like yesterday, I mean, so basically we found this bug on Monday, and then it got fixed Monday night, and then it got fixed today, Thursday, and like all of Tuesday and all of Wednesday was just, I was just a total mess. Like it totally threw off my schedule and I couldn't do anything. I was hoping to do a bunch of level design, none of it got done because this just seemed like, I mean, having this thing that was going to cause my scenes to just crash like that when you open it was pretty worrisome. So yeah, I mean, you end up with, when you work on a big project like this that's been in development for a few years, you end up being emotionally very attached to it. Not just like, oh, it's mine, but more like your emotional state basically goes up and down with how the game is going. And development of the game is just never going to be perfect. You're going to run into some crazy bugs that's going to totally derail everything. And that happens pretty often, so if you're emotionally attached to how the game is doing, then you kind of go through these really rough periods. But I do think having keeping a good schedule, getting exercise, like I do yoga every day, get enough sleep. I don't really do that. Go to local events. I'm pretty fortunate in Chicago. There's like a ton of stuff going on, so there's always there's pretty much at least one game development thing every month. So I don't actually go to everything, but it's really nice that that stuff is there. If you don't have it, I think being on Twitter or, you know, Skype, talking to friends, even online, I think that can be helpful. The indie game dev scene is pretty emotionally invested. Yeah, it's beyond attachment, right? And yeah, I think the nice thing with the indie game dev scene on Twitter is that people are pretty open about their problems and sharing stuff. Sometimes maybe sharing too much, but it's a great community. So I think there's a lot of really cool conversations to be had on Twitter with other indie devs. And the nice thing is everyone understands your problems, right? Like all the problems that I'm going through right now, Alex Bruce went through them. I guess Mark is where, but he's just ahead of me kind of in that cycle. Mark, I'm sort of in the middle of it, and Mark is kind of just starting out. He's in the earlier phase, so he's like 14 months behind where I'm at. Yeah. Well, I think even if you live in a very small place, stuff like this Twitch channel or you got the internet, so I think that's the kind of really cool thing where you can still get involved. So now, as you can see, Interlockable has the line manager as a child, and when I close this scene, it doesn't crash. People from the critique last night, from the critique night reached out and helped me find marketing. Resources. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad that happened. All right, so yeah, so I just wanted to show you that it's no longer crashing when we open the scene, and so there are a few things. So a few checks. Chris made it redundant, the check, but I think it's good. Basically, in the okay, let me find that in the utils. Reload all. Doc, sure. So, basically now, what it does is, if it is, so actually what I've asked Chris to do is go in and add a whole bunch of comments so I actually know what is going on later. But basically, if it checks that if the application is currently loading the level, it returns as null. So that's one check to make sure that this thing isn't getting called. Has like something to return to at the start of loading the level, and then also on these objects themselves. Let me just find a tree so I can think easier to find the script there. Right. So basically now on all of these, on validate, it also checks to make sure that you're not loading level when you call for relativity utils. So this is, so yeah, it's really kind of checks on both the part where it's calling on validate and also the check that's at the singleton. Yeah, so Andy James Adams, basically the problem was that all of these things that are calling relativity utils to get, so we have them in this method on validate, which allows me to make changes to it in the scene, right? Because basically on validate is called when you update something in the editor. So what's really nice is I can change the gravity and it updates the material in real time in the editor. But on validate is also called when something is loaded into the scene. So basically, when you start the scene, a bunch of things were calling relativity utils when relativity utils hadn't even been loaded. So what the fix was to make sure both when you're calling on validate that it's only called when the scene isn't loading, and also on singleton behavior that when application is loading level, it returns null. So this is what's been done. Oh, hey, there's some, Vavassar, how's it going? And, Oh, and do why. Indie scene in Toronto is awesome. Yeah. Toronto also has a great scene. I think it's actually, it's probably even bigger than Chicago's indie game scene. But you guys have a ton of really cool people there. Draken, Ryan Roth, Damian Summer, Capybara. Who else is there? Like, I guess Ubisoft. That's not indie, but you have like a game dev scene, certainly. Richmond, Virginia. Do you know Vivasser? Do you know Momin Khan? He is based in Richmond, Virginia, I think. He's in Virginia. I don't know if it's Richmond. But I have drink boxes also there, and I have been to Richmond once, where I visited an old friend. UCI. What is, like, is that University of California, Irvine? But anyway, so now it's not fixed. Now, so that bug is no longer an issue. Oh, right, okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're in the West Coast, there's a ton of stuff there. So, another tool I want to talk about is, so this is something that Chris has added, which lets you see what the direction a line is pointing in, because you would actually have to like click on all of them, and we basically have it so so why do you need to know the line direction? It's basically so that you can know, so the arrow is pointing in what is the forward direction of the line, and the way I design it is because here, so this is my door switch combo, right? And I've got the activator switch, which has this line associated with it. You can see here, right? This is the line manager, and on the square switch itself, I can choose whether I want to fill in the forward direction or unfill in the forward direction. And forward direction means the arrow that it's pointing in. The way I had to do it before was actually to look at where the green arrow was. That should be pointing back towards the square, but this is way more helpful. Basically because when you look at the entire scene, you can kind of just see it all happen. I'm not too sure where Chris is getting this arrow from, but I think one thing I'm going to do is ask him to color in the head of it. Because I think just looking at that isn't super clear, but yeah, so yeah, I guess like next Thursday we can have Chris talk about the bug fix, and then also talk about these weird problems. So it looks like this one is missing its... Okay, there we go. Yeah, and these are some of the other tools, right? Basically, when we're growing trees, you can see where the tree, if I want the queue to already been picked off, this is where it's going to be. Madison, yeah, Joe McDonald. Speaking of Joe McDonald, I am going to take a second to make a pitch, which is Joel just released his game Prune. It is editor's choice from Apple. It is for iOS. It's a beautiful game about trimming trees. I have had the pleasure of playtesting it, and I can tell you that it is very good. So you guys should all check it out. How is Chris doing the line? I am actually not sure. You're talking about I'm assuming you are talking about the arrows. I don't know. So I think also some of them have not been added. Right, like this line hasn't been added, so maybe... Interesting. You know what, maybe it'd be good to take a look at it, the code, just to kind of see what he's done. Though it might not... Yeah, I don't see it. I think it might be something in the editor, in which case I'm not too sure how to look for it. So I will talk to Chris about it tomorrow. Custom inspectors. Huh, okay, so there's a cube-line activator editor. Alright, so yeah, I don't actually know how Chris is doing the arrows. The geo line render. No, but I mean part of it is too is like where I am curious where is he, like I don't see it on the script. So I think it's an editor script that is calling. Yeah, see what I don't understand is why this line object, these two line objects look exactly the same. Yeah, like these two objects look exactly the same, and yet one of them has the arrow on it and the other doesn't. So I honestly don't know why that is. It does seem like the ones that have the arrows added, they are missing their materials right at the beginning. So I do have to, it seems like I do have to go back and add them in, which is interesting. Oh, so I think these should actually be purple. Right, so, or maybe they have to be fully connected. Anyway, I will talk to Chris about it and get back to you. Yeah, you can ask him when he comes on. So, alright, so I can't seem to find my mouse. Oh, there we go. Okay. So yeah, anyway, that was just a huge weight off my shoulder having that fixed. In fact, what I think I am going to do now is I am going to celebrate by grabbing a beer. Or as we call it on the stream, water. Cheers, guys. So, the other thing is now we have these kind of large interlockable pieces. I don't want to say too much about them because I think that would kind of start to spoil stuff. But yeah, now it's fixed and it has the lines, and that's really important because you can actually start to make connections between lines. So basically, part of what's going on here is we're making like a switch and wire system. So you can kind of connect all these different lines, and if you have the switch, it doesn't matter where the switch is or where the ending is. If you have enough lines connecting them, everything is going to light up. So it's basically this. I guess you could use it to program, right? Because it's an on-off switch, and we're basically making this dynamic wiring system that lets you change stuff up. But it makes the puzzles. It's going to have some really interesting puzzles, and I don't want to talk too much about that. So instead, what I am going to do is go back to. So anyway, that's that for the game development, I am actually going to jump back to doing level design. Unfortunately, because of the crash that happened with the scene, I actually lost the scene that I was working on that we started with the library. But we didn't really do that much anyway, and there were some other problems. So we're gonna go back now and start doing that again. So yeah, if you guys remember, it was World 26, the library, and that one is that one is gone. So I'm gonna have to redo it again. But yeah, like I said, we really didn't do very much last time. Oh, the other thing is you'll notice here that there's 2 relativity utils. I don't know why this scene is just taking forever. You can see there are 2 relativity utils. It's because it would always look for, if a scene didn't have relativity utils, it would just cull it. And one of the things that we are going to... So this week David is on vacation, and what I'm going to do is have him, when he comes back next week, is we are going to write a tool that's like setup level for set up a new level, because basically every level has the game manager, every level has relativity utils, every level has rigid body controller, and right now what I do is I take an existing level and I save it as a new name, and then I go through and delete all this other stuff. Oh, right, and see, the also has WoRat manager, right? So it's easy, very easy to forget all this. And I think it would just be easier. It's like if I start a new scene, I go relativity, you know, like, well, we don't have it right now, but it would be like set up new scene. I think that would be super helpful. Like after we got to get some custom tools in the game, that's like all that I'm about nowadays. Alright, so let's do, because you see, like, I'd have to delete all this, and then I'd like run a test to see if it's working, and sometimes I accidentally delete something that's necessary, so, alright. Oh, right. I'm going to open up the last... Wait, no, that is Unity 4. So actually, one thing I did do was... So I downloaded Unity 5.1.2 to try to save it, to try to fix it, but that didn't actually work. Alright, Unity 4.5. Alright, we're going to open up the previous project just so I have something to reference. Alright, we'll see you later, Metal Gun Talk. Yeah, this was the level we had that basically consisted of kind of an infinite library. It's sort of based on this specific image. Kind of trying to create a space like this one is sort of what I'm going for. Well, actually more like this. I think this is an actual library. No, maybe not. I think that looks like a hotel. But basically having all these floors repeat and sort of this column in the middle that goes on infinitely. Oh, so I wanted to announce I guess this is kind of exciting, but I am going to be an artist in residence at UIC makerspace starting today. So I'm gonna be. It's kind of cool. Basically, they have this space at an art center, and it's this project is sponsored by VGA Gallery and the Graham Foundation. But I am going to be kind of just hanging out on campus and talking to architects and other artists and using their resources. So there's like some stuff for 3D printing. So I'm thinking of experimenting with that this summer. I might also try to see if I can maybe stream that. It probably wouldn't be one where I'm just talking, but I would just have the laptop maybe looking at the printer, and I can kind of show like tweaks that I'm doing. So it would be like actually just a camera of the entire room. So okay, I actually want that to be 16 wide. Right, and for those of you that are new, I'm using ProBuilder, which is a plugin for Unity, and that's kind of what I build everything is. Now, it is super awesome, and I couldn't have made Relativity without it, but there are a few problems. So, one of the things that was really worrisome with having the thank you, Professor. Yeah, having that scene crash on start is that basically means I've lost everything that I've built with ProBuilder inside of it, right? Because it's not the only way I can access everything, these shapes, is inside Unity itself. So like, one of the things I want to talk to David about doing is, and there is a export as OBJ function inside ProBuilder. But I want to talk to David to see if there's a way I can export everything that I've built in a way that will allow me to basically almost like a backup. So if I really do lose everything inside ProBuilder, I can still have a backup of the structure that I can work with. The one thing then is, unfortunately, it means that I can't have these I can't make these ProBuilder adjustments. But I suppose if I made something in Maya, then I can tweak them in that program. Hey, Latravis, how's it going? So, right, so I think, okay, this was 168. That might be too big, but let's go ahead and try that. All right, so basically the surprise with ProBuilder is I'm gonna do a giveaway of a copy of ProBuilder on tonight's stream in just a bit. Yes, yes, Latravis. I hope you are not just here for that, but here for my entertaining stream. And so we'll actually start that in a bit, but yeah, that's kind of just my way to give thanks to everyone. Like, last night's debug stream was super helpful, so I thought it'd be kind of cool just to, if anyone's interested in working with ProBuilder, here's a chance to let you have it. It's a super awesome plugin. It is not without its problems, but it's super great, and then the devs are always like making changes. And really, I could not be working on. I wouldn't be working on this game if it hadn't been for ProBuilder. In fact, I think one of the things I might do with once David comes back is see if he can talk to. Maybe we can talk to the ProBuilder guys, and if they're interested, like some of the tools that David has used, perhaps they can adopt them as well. Because I think that would be super awesome. Spherical, the oh shit moments. That hasn't happened yet. Usually there's like one per session. I think it's easier when I'm programming. Those happen more often. All right, 0. I also want to make sure I like line up everything correctly this time, because I didn't do it last time and it was actually kind of tedious to work with. Okay. So it looks like that ought to be... Right, let's move both of these back. Oh, so, well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the level in the previous version of the project just to see, because I realized I don't think you guys know what it looks like. So this is kind of, I don't know if this is going to work. It's been a while since I've opened this. So, to back up probular objects, you could try saving them as prefab asset bundle over. So there actually is a problem with that, which is that it is not. I don't know if you can actually save them as prefabs because it's the scene is being generated at the scene is no. I just got a glass for the water. The scene is being generated. I think a lot of the objects are being generated when the scene loads. Probular stuff's a little funky. Like, doesn't quite save it as an actual mesh, which is something that you actually want to talk about. Which is actually something that you would want. So this is the level. It's not actually working right now. Well, this is sort of what the game looks like without any of the shaders attached to it. Hey, hello, Ed Riofer. You missed my explanation of the bug that was causing a lot of problems. So yeah, this is without any fancy shaders applied. This is what the game looks like. Okay, there's a bug you can't get up. So this is in the previous Unity 4 version of the game. You can see the rotation movement is also very stiff. But basically now I want to... The other thing is, like, see, I can't... What I've made here, right, like, I can't just easily bring this over to Unity 5. So I think that's another problem. Can you play the game in blocking non-shader mode? Maybe I'll have a password for it. You can do it if you have access to the console, and I'm not sure if I want to give players that, but then you would be able to. Four. Right, so I think one of the things I want to talk to David is David about it. Just because see what we had to do was actually save out things as an actual mesh, and then you can use it as a prefab. Otherwise, you would bring it in to the scene as a prefab, and it would actually be missing. And that's something that happened with the window generator early on. Yeah, it is not a good idea because the thing with the console is you can just do. You could basically just no clip through the entire world. I think I do want to add console. Like what I might do is add a console, but with very limited functions, and that would be. And the idea is that you can use it, like if your save folder is broken or if you're missing, if a box has disappeared. But I think perhaps all of those would be better simply just to have, what am I saying? Simply to have a better, like a saving system, you know, that saves maybe that auto saves or so every few minutes or so you don't lose too much work as well. But I know the other thing is I also just want to make sure that everything is foolproof and isn't going to result in weird bugs. But I don't think that's actually that possible. Alright, so now I had, these had 10 steps, right? 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. So I'm actually going to go ahead and make an empty game object for this staircase so that way, because I know I'm going to be using that, I'm going to be like copying and moving this staircase around. It's going to be a lot easier just to put everything in it and organize it here. And we'll call this platform, and then generate the first step. So yeah, basically what I do is I'll click on one and I'll hit Control D, and that copies it. Passcode system for console players, console for PC players. I mean, I don't know how often, but yeah. Probably I won't have a console. The thing is, I was thinking if I had a console that I could do, like, I would put I would actually, like, I was thinking of making a text adventure and hiding it somewhere inside the console. Alright, so I'm just kind of, again, duplicating these objects, moving these steps in place. So because I actually want 10 of these. Okay, so let's say that this is, let's just call this stairs. And we'll bring all the steps inside here. Just rename them all to steps. And then I'm going to create another object called staircase. That's in the same place. The other thing is when you're lining up, I want to make sure that they're not on the point. Ugh. Right. So see why, the reason why organizing it like this is then I can simply put the platform inside staircase, duplicate platform, bring that down here, make this copy over the stairs, bring that in here, and then bring both the stairs and both sets of stairs and the platform into that one game object, and then take this whole thing and put it inside floor. And then what I can do is just copy the floor object and move it down. And now, because the thing is, I don't actually want the staircase to be right beneath it. Instead, I want it to be, I think I will have you, yeah, it doesn't really matter. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to have you turn right to go down, but then I realized, well, if you're turning right to go down, then you're also turning left to go up, and then when you invert it, you are still turning right to go down. But either way, it's balanced for both directions. Okay, so now the other thing is I want to figure out how far away this should be. So this is 21. Right, like where exactly is the middle? And oftentimes what I'll do is I'll make a temporary Pro Builder object to use as a ruler. So I know, okay, now that's... So in this case, I know it should come over a little bit more. So this would be, this is 21. Let's see if making it 23 helps. Okay, so it looks like it ought to be 23.5. So let's move it this way. Yeah, because now if this is 23.5, then that should line up correctly. Okay, so it's 23.5 on both sides. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep these here, and then we are just going to come back and delete them later. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and call these temp. And actually we can use that for this level as well. Now it would probably make sense to, you know what, we should just make this 10, no, like, so this is 20 steps. Yeah, let's call this 20 steps. It would, I was just thinking it would make sense to make that a prefab as well, so then later when we go and delete those temp objects, we can have them both here. Alright, spacebar while looking at the, okay, whoa, let me catch up on some of the chat. Text adventure in the console. Yeah, I was thinking if you just type, oh, did Jazzpunk already do having a secret text adventure inside the console? Damn, they beat me to it. I actually didn't know that. So Ed Riofer's idea is actually pretty cool. Exits to the top, bottom, left, and right. I always think of having something totally different, but I kind of like the idea where you can play the game through the text adventure. That would be kind of cool. Oh, the control shift. Oh, no. What you can do, Ryoku the Slayer, is you can change it. The reason how you can do project settings editor. There's a snapping snap settings. Yeah, rotation. I just changed that to 90. That's a Unity thing. Why are the platforms different colors for telling them apart? Yes. Yeah, it's control, so it's in the editor. It's the snap setting. Okay. Yeah, not having the Pro Builder scripts on the objects is really, it sucks because then you can't reattach the Pro Builder object, so it does mean like that shape is sort of finalized at that point. So I'm gonna go ahead and create folder world 026 library, and it's 9:30, so basically let's have no. So what, hold on, we haven't started yet, but I'm going to ask for a keyword, and if you want to enter into the draw for, I'm going to give away a copy of Pro Builder, thanks to Pro Builder. This is from Builder. I just asked them, I emailed them, and I'm going to give away a copy, and if you just hold on a second, I want to make sure this is working. Basically, if you type in the word falling water, we are doing a Frank Lloyd Wright reference, falling water into the stream, I will do, yes, I mean, I was not very subtle with the hint, but if you type falling water into the chat, you will enter. I think you might want to make sure that it's spelled correctly. Ryoku the Slayer. There we go. So don't enter it multiple times, but do enter it, and we are going to do a draw. Yeah, if you enter it multiple times, it might it might it might like disable you or something. But I'm gonna let this run for. We'll give it like 10 minutes. So at or 5 minutes at 9:40, I will. Yeah, I will roll. So we will hit roll here on Twitch giveaway, and it will tell me who it is. Main Jai, you need to spell it correctly. Now I'm wondering, where do I put man, alright, hold on a second. I think that is pretty cool. Speaking of Frank Lloyd Wright, you got the chance to visit his summer home in Sidonia. It was wonderful. You know, I actually went to. There's like one of his places is on sale in Colorado right now, I think. Skydiving water. Right. It's 9:36, so I guess we have 4 more minutes. John Brooks, 977. Hello. I see you have come out of lurking. Or maybe you've typed something before and I just haven't noticed. But yeah, right now we have, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 10 people who have entered. So... So I think that's pretty good. Yeah, the things I want to work on this, but then it makes it go away. So let me see if I can just add the text onto falling water. Probably not worth it. There we go. If anybody has trouble spelling it. Alright, 2 minutes. Alright, I'm going to keep working on this. And then we will do the draw. So, it's not about winning, it's about... Yeah, I mean, that was just, I just kind of wanted to say thanks to everyone who's been coming to the stream, and also for giving me a lot of feedback and helping me out. We might have Gabriel, who's the guy that started working on Pro Builder. He is currently in Europe, but I'm thinking about getting him on the stream sometime to kind of talk about the process of making an editor tool and what working on Pro Builder has been like. I think that's super fascinating. Like, that's something that the media doesn't cover. Nobody covers game engine tools. You know, they only talk about games. But I think that's something that's like super interesting to us as developers, and something that's really important and is not often, you know, you don't really know what that process is like. Like, no one, everybody wants to make a game, right? But nobody is like, oh, I want to make an editor tool. Oh man, I totally forgot. I wanted to make this a prefab. Alright, it is almost 9:40, so I'm going to play the Jeopardy theme song one more time, and then when that ends, we're going to hit roll. Alright. So, I'm going to hit roll. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people who have entered. At the end of this song, I will hit roll. Interesting piece of trivia is I thought of naming this game Looping Water. Because water in this game loops around, and it would kind of be a reference to... Oh, SBY8! Congratulations! I hope you are here in the chat. SBY8, say hello. We were not supposed to phrase it as a question. SBY8, say hello so I can message you. That was the countdown theme. Oh man, maybe we should do something where you have to be here for... You have to claim it. Ah! You got it! Hey, I even saved, I had this special moment for you. Congratulations. You have won a copy of Pro Builder. I'm sending SBY8 a private message. Figuring out the bug, yes. So congratulations to SBY8, the winner of our first giveaway. You will be using Pro Builder. I expect great things from you. Oh yeah, the song is the ending of Snakebird. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna delete both of these and then start over from scratch with making this. Wait, no, please no, what? Oh, I'm so sorry. Was I not supposed to reveal it? I mean, if it is on the album. It's not like a secret song. Yeah, actually, I don't want to... Wait first, so there will be more sold out. A Logic Box giveaway. I might do some game giveaways. Well, I thought everyone here was like a developer, so a tool would be the most useful thing. Alright, just a second. I'm gonna finish putting this together. I've only worked in 2D so far, at least as far as games I want to publish anyway. Yeah, I feel like with 2D games though, you have to have a really good artist. Like you have to actually know how to draw for that. I actually think, for me personally, I think 3D is a little easier than 2D if you just, because you can have like a minimalist art style in 3D and still get away with a lot, but I feel like with 2D minimalist art style is a lot harder to pull off. At least that's what I think. But then I guess Logic Box has a I did actually look at it last night, and I almost started playing it, and then I decided to hold off because I think it would be kind of cool to do a let's play of that. So I wanted to keep my reactions of it fresh. Pro Builder is one of your major goals as far as things you need to buy. Well, maybe we might do another giveaway sometime in the future. So stay tuned. But I think if you're really good at Blender, there's actually a lot of uses for that too. I tried doing Blender. I mean, the thing is, I think it's a lot easier to use UV wrapping, to do UV wrapping inside Blender than it is inside Pro Builder. Minimalist art style with really good lighting. Yes, we would love to check it out. Yes, Metal Gun Talk. RT Select Game. Where is, which, is this? This is from the game? Wow. I mean, I think it does look right now, it's that it looks a little, inconsistent. Like, the character is really wonderfully done. I'm assuming everything in the background is just, temporary, right? Yeah, because the protagonist is, like, super high quality. But everything else is like pixel art. Oh yeah, that is interesting lighting. The grid snap. Yeah, ProGrid is actually different than I see. It is temp. ProGrid is actually different than Pro Builder. You can actually get that. I think it's a lot cheaper. It's like a $25 package for ProGrid. Yeah, I have both of them. So that's ProGrid right there. Right, so we are gonna put everything now inside the library tower. And we're gonna use a tool that David's made for us, which is basically putting everything in the middle. Oh, but why does he do that? Oh, okay, never mind. That was just a temporary thing. Then we are going to go ahead and do mesh utilities. Oh. Okay, so we want to duplicate the original. We want to require environment tag, only include enabled game objects, disable new combined, add wrappable. Yes, so there we go, and that's should be good, so we can start testing it. Oh, right, I don't actually... Wow, this looks really cool, though. It's like really, it's weird because it looks very flat, which is not really what I'm used to with this game. Like, it looks super horizontal. You can see our main game, artificial selection. So, are you saying that This is not the main game. Ooh, Retsum. Oh, is this? Oh, I see. Your video is no longer available. Ah, I see. Very cool. And then there's one more from this. Ah, okay, this is the newest boss. Yeah. Alright, so was that those were two different games that we were looking at? Yeah, I don't actually want duplicates in. Right, so this is really the effect that I'm going for, right? It's this one tower. Oh, you know what? It's this. I didn't actually want to make. I don't want these here, so we're gonna go ahead and apply this prefab to everything. Then we are going to delete this one and then use mesh utility. So this is like a really, this is the tool that David wrote for me to generate duplicate objects. Right, so really this is the effect that I was going for. That I wanted to have, which is this sort of central tower that just keeps falling. And the idea is there's gonna be sort of a bunch of rooms here on this side that you can go to, but all of them, you know, you can see the wrapping though. Not the wrapping, but you can see it being generated. So I think I might have to go with like 10. That might fix it. Alright, Ryoku the Slayer, I will see you later. Thank you for stopping by. Have I played Ghost Trick? I have not. Alright, going to start working on some of these levels now. I think what we'll do is we'll start off with this one. Yeah, I kind of want like this bridge structure in the middle. Alright, so there you can see my that wasn't lined up correctly, so yikes. Okay, that's something I want to talk to David about then. Which is that it moves. Okay, now everything is on the grid. I think I didn't have it on the grid before. Everything got moved out of the grid, which is something that happens. Like you have to have them both. You have to have them lined up locally and globally as well. Otherwise, you get kind of these weird bugs. The wrapping problem in this reminds you of working with mirrors. Sort of, yeah. It's an overlooked DS mystery adventure game. The thing is I don't have a DS, so I don't, but Kevin Zune, a friend of mine, probably has played. He probably has played Ghost Trick, so I will ask him about it. But The new protagonist for the platformer. Oh, very cool. So this is different than the game you first showed us, right? With the crazy lighting, because that one didn't have pixel art. The next name is gonna be good, and I will reveal that soon. But in the meantime, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call it a night here. I think it's been yeah, it's almost 10. But thank you all for tuning into the stream. Again, really, really appreciate everyone for checking out the stream on a regular basis. Yeah, so yeah, the giveaway, that's not something I'm planning on doing on a regular basis, but that was just my way of saying thanks. And the bug is fixed, so now we can get back to level design. And yeah, so we're gonna kind of continue working on this level. Hopefully we don't run into any crazy bugs. And in the meantime, if you are new, make sure to follow. If you are enjoying the stream, follow. And if you have a work in progress game and you want it to be on the stream, so tomorrow we are going to not be doing level design. We are going to be doing the game critique, live game critique. This time we're going to be talking to Frank Washburn, who's working on Blood Alloy. I'll be playing that game. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow then. Take care.